Kia ora. Welcome to Down to Earth Conversations, where we hear from ordinary people who are helping to bring a bit of heaven down to earth. I'm Andy Dixon. It's good to have you here.
On Earth.
On Earth.
On Earth.
On Earth as it is in heaven.
On Earth as it is.
On Earth as it is.
in heaven. Down to Earth.
Hello. Welcome to another episode of Down to Earth Conversations. Today we've got a real treat for you, talking to Michael Kettle from Beautify Waitara. If you're in the space to do it, hit pause and go and find Beautify Waitara on Facebook or Instagram. The links are in the show notes. And check out some of the walls that they've been painting. It'll give you some visuals to go with what you're about to hear. But if you're driving, please don't do that. Feel free to just keep listening and hear how Mike and some others are using the arts to help with community healing and connection. Mike uses a bunch of te reo Māori terms in the episode, and I've attempted to give some understanding of them in the show notes, so check that out if you need to. But this is a beautiful kōrero where Mike demonstrates his love for his community and the value of serving something more than yourself. It's a breath of fresh air in a world where so many are focused on what they get out of something rather than the good that they can be giving through it. This is episode 19 of Down to Earth Conversations. Here's Michael Kettle.
We want to try and help tell the story of Tangata Whenua or Mana Whenua. We sit down with the local Māori and say, right, what stories can we tell? In Taranaki, so Te Aotearoa, our iwi, there's some collective stories that knits us all together. So we sat down with a few key leaders, Kaumātua, and they pointed us in the right direction.
I have the awesome privilege today of talking to Michael Kettle. Kia ora, Michael.
Kia ora, brother. Kia ora.
How you doing?
Good, man. Good. Yeah, shot for the opportunity, eh?
No problem. No, great to have you here. No here koe.
No Waitara hau. Ko Taranaki te maunga, ko Waitara te awa, ko Tokomaru te waka, ko Te Aotearoa te iwi, ko Puketapu me Ngāti te whiti te hapu, ko Owai Waitara te marae. Yeah, no Waitara hau, ko Mike tōku ingoa. Kia ora koutou.
Kia ora. Yeah, so you're living in Waitara?
Born and bred and grew up in Waitara, and yeah, man.
Ever been away from Waitara?
Yeah. Done a few trips overseas to Africa a couple of times and through Cambodia, Vietnam, Thailand. Just helped do a few connected with a few crew and just did a few trips to orphanages, helping out villages, and working with youth and churches and a bit of anything really. I end up in the middle of nowhere helping build huts and
Cool.
Yeah, man. No, it was good.
But always end up back in Waitara?
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Home's home?
Yeah, man. Home's home. There's a song that a local guy wrote. It's quite popular. Dave Grace talks about I'll always come back. I was talking about Taranaki and Pariaka and our stories, and it's quite funny. It's so true. My whole whānau, they all moved overseas and even worked overseas. To a point where they're flying in and out, some of them, but everyone except for my brother has moved back home. My brother's the only one still in Aussie, but yeah, man, home's awesome. Yeah.
So we're going to talk to you today a bit about an initiative you've got going with some others called Beautify Waitara. But before we get to that, do you want to just tell us a bit about Waitara? What's it like? What's some of the history of it to lead it to where it is?
So Waitara is a strong sporting community. It's a small. At the moment, it's probably 8,000. Peaking 8,000, so it's thriving. But 8,000 people, big sporting community for a little town. Got some, a lot of Kiwi reps, New Zealand reps. It's quite mind blowing. You walk through the high school hallways and stuff, and you see all the sports clubs. So it's awesome. I'd say punches above its weight. I guess that's what I'm saying. I guess just like a lot of small towns, it's you get you got those groups that are quite knit, lots of little small town communities knitted together, voluntary groups and sporting clubs and schools. And so, yeah, Waitara as well. If you go, I guess, go way back, looking at the stories, you would have seen some of it, the stories of Aotearoa land wars. So the first gunshot was fired here in Waitara at Te Kōrero. So there's a lot of story there where, you can Google that. I don't want to spend time telling that story, but there's some beautiful people who have told those stories. You can look up, Te Kōrero or Waitara, and Te Pūtaki o Te Reri. There was some beautiful stories they did on YouTube, and really good. So there's a lot of stories in Waitara all around the land wars, and which from here also strong connections with Parihaka. So Owai Marae, there's a flag that they fly up there, Honore Karori ki te atua, just similar kaupapa to what Tohu and Te Whiti were speaking and carrying, and and if you've done a little research into Aotearoa history, you would have heard of those guys' names, or even Parihaka. So there's a lot, and in all that, there's a lot of hurt. There's a lot of so church have been involved in that. Non-Māori have been involved in that story, and our main streets are named after the governors and guys who led these land confiscations and these the greatest force at the time. So those names are still plastered all around our main streets and all around our streets, and so there's that carries a lot. Don't know how too far to go into. So if you can just picture that sort of paints enough, of
there's some history there.
Yeah, bro, some history, it's a beautiful town. There's lots happening.
Cool.
So it's a beautiful community. I love it. Awesome surfing community. I surf, so love surfing. So picture Waitara. It's a beach, the awa, turn around, you got mountains and farm lands as well. Not saying it's all in that close range. So man, but definitely had its bad rep. Oh, why would you want to live in Waitara? I guess there's plenty of other little towns around Aotearoa like that carry that. But man. But now you got a lot of people building houses out here, or wanting to move out here, or wanting to move out, and their friends saying, "Why you want to move out here for?"
And so this concept of Beautify Waitara, do you want to give us a bit of an idea of what is that, and where did it come from?
Yeah, man. So there was a group that was formed that sort of went out and did a surveying, just a whole bunch of different hui of getting people together and trying to collect what if Waitara had dreams, and this went on for a while. If there was any dreams, aspirations, or things I'd like to see in Waitara, there was some 5 key points, and one of them was arts and creativity and all around that. So, and you'd put your name in this hat pretty much, and then these names will get pulled together. And this was only a couple of years ago, and so so one of them was art, and so there was about 8 of us who had who sort of collectively had I guess you'd say a passion, or around the whole art side of it. And maybe even a few years before that, I'd seen some of the artwork done around. It's not a new idea, bro. It's it's done all around the world, around Aotearoa, and just seen that, and I'd put forward a proposal and a plan, and a few years before this group even, and then sort of didn't go anywhere, and then you try again, and then just the timing, it just worked well. The groups all come together, and we put the plan and put it forward, and we got funding approved. So the plan was transform spaces, community spaces with colour, life.
Was that funding from the council?
No, so one of the things was Department of Internal Affairs. There was lots of little communities around Aotearoa where they picked a few different communities, and they had to meet certain criteria. And one is a big part of it there was community-led development. So like the community have to drive it. So there's a group formed, Te Arawakamua it's called, means journey forward, and it's a group of local leaders in Waitara just voluntary put their names forward, and they formed a trust. And so Waitara ticked all the boxes, and sort of
Cool.
that was they don't hold the funding. They're just people that the Department of Internal Affairs work through. So this group connects with the community and says, okay, there might be someone wanting to do something around the sports or something. So they would be a liaison with the community. There'd be a person you could go to, because that's the biggest mission. I have this dream. What do I do with it? Where do you go for funding? So it's like, okay, there's a group of us. We've got this dream. Go to there's a community liaison person. We'd just chat with him, and he said, man, go do this. Just your first couple of steps, and when you've done that, come back. And we just slowly worked through that. And so it wasn't just here's some funding. They worked with you to So that was a bit of the process behind it all. And so there's some cool stuff happening in Waitara. And it's just a cool idea, I reckon, having some funding there, or just even having a community person who knows all about where to go to for funding. And so so in all that too, there's they connected us with the council and other things like that to pull some funding in and just point us in the right direction, and they've already built relationship with businesses and council as well. So we want to paint on that building. Who are you with? And it's immediately there's that relationship.
It's not, hi, I'm Mike and I want to paint on your wall.
Yeah, man. So there's a lot of relationship there that people have been working and building, and so when you think about it, that's the bigger picture that's going on. And people just see a picture at the moment and they think, oh, that's cool, but there's a lot more in behind all that community working together. So what was the kaupapa behind it? Pretty much a community group just with a passion to transform community spaces with colour, man, and that was it. And so we got together and goes, okay, now that's a big scope. What does that look like? And so something we're all passionate about. And at the moment, there's this awesome group in Waitara called Waitara Taiao, and that just a conservation group, community just passionate about the environment, and they're working in schools and doing all sorts. And so we're all like, man, okay, this is a cool thing to try and support that kaupapa. So instead of us just doing a mural, okay, somehow can this mural support what this community group's doing? And we're like, yeah, it's pretty mean. And then so it's sort of pulling our scope in a bit. And then at the same time, we're like, man, there's a lot of beautiful stories in Waitara that I mentioned right at the start, what the history of Waitara, but also just Te Aotearoa. There's a lot of beautiful stories. We sing a lot of waiata that has awesome meaning, do a lot of karakia. There's a lot of whakatauki, like proverbs and stuff that mean, that carry some like real potent meanings that so we're like, man, why don't we try and tell our stories as well through these murals?
So you've got a bunch of people together and you've got this conservation kind of idea, but the basic idea from what I'm understanding from you is that you go and paint walls.
Yep.
I mean, that not necessarily the only thing you're going to do, but that's a big part of what you're doing is you're painting walls around the community. And so you've got this idea. Who is there particular artists within the group that design the things? How's it all work?
Okay, so from before that, we want to tell like from the Māori community to support, try and help tell the story of Tangata Whenua or Mana Whenua. We sit down with the local Māori and say, right, what stories can we tell? So we sat together, and there's tried to pull in a few different members from the different hapu, and say, because there's probably 5 all around the Waitara area, and you can't paint a certain thing because that's for that group, or that's for that hapu, and that's for them. But in Taranaki, so Te Aotearoa, our iwi, Te Aotearoa Nui Tonu, is there's some collective stories that we all, that knits us all together. That's quite a common story. So, and Waitara too. So we sat down with a few key leaders, Kaumātua, and they pointed us in the right direction. Okay, here's a concept. And then from there, I'd met Charles and Janine Williams probably 5 years ago. And we've just been chatting throughout the years, just say, hey, man, this is something we're always dreaming of, love to do. And so we connected with Charles and Janine and said, okay, here's a concept, go for it, come back. And they sent us back a few different ideas, like, here's what we could do, here's what we could do here. And then we put that forward to the group. And it was just a cool process of, because they're so professional too, they Charles and Janine, they're just next level. You know,
Mm.
they said, yeah, it just made the whole process easy. So we just got, okay, we all come to a point where we agreed on a mural. So we could almost see digitally what it's going to look like, you know,
Yeah, well.
before it went on there. So it's like, that's it. You know, you can put that before your community and for your group and say, man, yeah, that's me.
I love that you guys are, you're not just going, hey, we want to make Waitara more beautiful. These are our ideas. Let's go do it.
Get out of the way. Yeah.
Yeah, and then going, hey, you'll better think this is beautiful. But you're actually pulling in the Kaumātua, you know, the people that have been there for years, and going, what do you want to see there?
Yeah,
you know,
man.
What stories do you want told? And
Yeah.
you're honouring those people. You're honouring the Tangata Whenua, the mana whenua, and in doing that, like when you think of the stories that you've told of Waitara, a lot of it was about coming in and taking.
Yeah.
And you're doing the opposite of that.
Yeah, man.
This is what I'm hearing.
Emphasizing
that
the
you're-
beautiful, the positive stories, the amazing stories that, we have as a people. Yeah, that's right.
And so you're, I mean, it's something as simple as painting on walls. To me, I just love the life that's in that, because that's a healing thing, and it's a giving thing, and it's a replenishment. You know,
Yeah, like, and in all honesty, from the time we started put the application forward to now, it's probably like a 2-year process. It sounds, maybe because COVID jumped in there, but just the whole process was a lot longer and but a lot more, a lot slower. But the end result is, you know, you've got more collective, the community involved in the whole thing. We just exactly like you said, we could have turned up, hey man, we've got some funding, we're gonna paint this, and you might have had 3 or 4 people involved in the whole process.
and it might have been beautiful, but it wouldn't have carried that same heart.
Nah, that's right. Yeah, and even something as simple as one of the Kaumātua suggested puanga. Puanga is like the Māori New Year for Taranaki. So it comes before Matariki. Just put that in there somewhere. So we just listened to that and thought, okay, Charles, somewhere in your whole process, can you put a star up there which speaks of puanga? So they did the star and a few other stars in it. In Taranaki, that means a lot. That tells a big story itself. It's not just a star. It's more than that. So man. It's we got this, like our group got the funding, but in all honesty, it's Waitara's money. It's for Waitara. So Waitara, how can we serve you? How can we tell your story? How can we because we're all like in the group. There's mums, dads. They're already committee members and chairs of sports clubs, and you know, and that's cool. So everyone's doing it voluntary, just giving. Man. And so that's what I love too. It's just that how can we serve our community?
Yeah, I mean, recently on the podcast we've talked about the whole saviour complex of, you know, coming in and being the one with the answers, you know, being the one who's going to save everyone. And again, I love the humility that you're showing by not having that posture. You know, you haven't come in to save, you've come in to serve.
Man.
And it's beautiful.
Yeah. And we do such a bad job at it, because we've got all the answers. I mean, you're speaking from from a faith side of it. I see that we're right. From the history of church, I am right and I know all the answers. So step back, here I come. I'm going to put a big cross on your wall, and it's like, the town will love that, and it will speak volumes.
I guess that's an interesting point though. As a Christian who's involved in this, you know, as someone who's a leader in a church community, it could, you know, you could have taken this and used it to try and have an agenda.
Yeah, man.
And yet instead you've used this to show compassion, to show humility, to show love, which actually is painting a much better picture of what the gospel's all about.
Yeah, man. Yep. Yeah, definitely. And we all know there's that scripture, so Jeremiah 29:11. I learnt that off by heart when I was a new Christian, and God, so I know the plans I have for you, you know, good and not for evil. But if you go back to verse 7, Jeremiah 29 verse 7 says, seek the welfare of your city. And then in that you'll find your, you know, and then it just follows on from there. So we're too busy looking, you know, God's got this plan for me, and then I'm going to do this big thing. But I think the key part, and that's been big eye opener for me. It's just, and I've just sat on that, and even you could probably even have other Christians question you. That is not Christian work. You're not serving the Lord. But I know if I seek the welfare of my city, seek a way to somehow offer healing, a symbol of healing to my community. Oh man, that just for me, I just get excited about that. To come and serve. We could go all day talking about that stuff, and it's beautiful. I think we miss that a lot. Yeah, so that's a big one, bro.
Yeah, it's like the church has been so focused on trying to get people in, they've forgotten that actually it's about going out.
Oh man, yeah.
And it's not about going out and trying to turn the world into a bigger church. It's about going out and doing the serving, doing the humility, doing the love.
Yeah.
And as you do that, people are impacted by that. So what have been the responses from people?
Oh man, just I'm just thinking of, just as you were just talking, I'm just thinking of all that whole process. I just connected with so many different people in Waitara that I would probably have never done. If you come in at a whatever faith angle, or you wouldn't have, you would have shut doors probably. We've got doors, but just by coming and serve and you're just connecting with different people. Getting to know different people at different levels. The response has been mean, and if anything, it could have been this color or it could have been that bird. But at the end, man, there's so many people. Like when we were painting one of the murals, when Charles and Janine were painting one of our big murals, we were having people stop and bring boil up, bring piharo. Piharo is like an eel. It's like a delicacy here in Waitara. It's a small type of eel, but that alone is a big story. So as Māori in our community, we there's a story that piharo is the food of chiefs, or if you want to really honor a group or a person, if they come to your marae, or when they come be with you, you serve them piharo, because it's a sign of real, I really want to show you my hospitality, that I honor you, respect you, and we want to care for you. And so that alone, just them rocking up.
They were saying something in what they did.
And all that, and even just stopping, bringing a boil up, bringing lunch. It was mean, man. I was like, this is cool, man. It's, we had heaps of kids, and you get school kids and jumping in and help, prep the walls or even come and paint it. Yeah, so it's just that's a cool process, man. And that's what I love about it. It's that process, man.
How did the local Kaumātua respond to you guys coming and asking them about that? Was that something that they would have expected, or is that something that they would have expected in the past but doesn't happen as much?
It should be, for me, I'm Māori, I'm Te Atiawa. My mum raised me and taught me well that, and you sort of learn, that's what you should do. But if I guess there's been a lot of times where, and this is going out there, but council or different groups have, or even let's say churches, we're gonna come and do this, and this is what we're doing, and not even, there's no consult, or if it is consulting someone, it's maybe one, or it's pretty lame, the whole process. It's they do, they respect you for, it's like, thanks, this is awesome, this is the right, this is the right way to start, okay, and away we go. Even talking to them, we're going to start this kaupapa. How do we, we want to be able to start it, and we're blessed enough in Waitara to have these key people who have been our teachers or principals of schools, or you've always seen them, so you can eventually, if you haven't got their number, you'll get them quick enough, or you'll stop at their house, say, hey, we're about to start this kaupapa. We want to do it right. What's the right tikanga? How can we follow this? So we started, and they come and we did a karakia and bless the wall, and then at the end, similar. You do a karakia when you're finished, and so it's just so much richness in it all, eh?
I love the idea of it, because I just, I was thinking of Pākehā communities, and thinking of some of the ones that I've been involved in, particularly around churches. And I don't know if there was a bunch of young people who were like, hey, we want to do this. I don't know if they'd think to go and ask the older people.
Yeah,
They'd
right.
they'd just go, oh man, what those old people like is so out of date, and
Yeah,
we've got these fresh new ideas and we're just going to go for it. And yet that doesn't actually bring a community together.
yeah, man.
You know, that, I mean, there's some good that can happen from that, but I guess I'm dwelling on this point a lot because it struck home to me as you were talking about it, that actually that is a thing that is unique to particularly indigenous communities. And it's a beautiful thing. You know, it's something that does bring community together.
Yeah.
It doesn't, in the Pākehā system, I guess it's really easy for us to put the old people out to pasture, you know, rather than to respect them and get their wisdom. And
Yeah, no, it's there's a beautiful there's a cool story too of I don't know where it's becoming more or corporates, businesses are becoming more aware. Like I work for a big international company. It's a big company, and they have got cool relationships with the local hapu in the area, and you know, and making an honest attempt to try and really engage and get direction. And it's awesome to see. And we've just had our airport just been done up, and they approached the local hapu in the area, and just there's a cool video of just going through the whole process. And one of the artists said something really cool. Rangi Kippa said because they were acknowledged and they were valued and knew what they were carrying was valuable, they could just focus on their work instead of trying to fight to be acknowledged. And I was thinking, that's cool. That's like another. Is it a brand new season we're walking in?
oh, that's cool. So it's you know, you've done public walls, you've done like I've seen you doing areas where there's shops and stuff.
Yeah, man. Oh, so our whole process is we try to pick some key walls that are in the let's say the CBD, or if you're coming into Waitara, you'll see something welcome you in, and yeah. So we got the first big wall as you come into Waitara. On one, we've got the east side and west side. So yeah, we've got another one on the other side, and then there's a couple other small ones. In that process, we've had some of the students involved from the high school and different students as well, different kids involved, and like even photography, just some of the young fellas jumping in. Yeah, one of the guys jumping in doing photography, and also in that process working alongside professional artists. And we had it. One of the other walls was a local artist, Mike Montgomery, and he's awesome. And he worked with the high school kids, and there's just a whole process there where these high school kids have been involved through the process, and just learning skills off the artists. And I've finished painting the other wall, or one of the walls too, which is you'll see that coming into Waitara, and it's just a knowledge share process too, which is and to sit there and hear Charles and Janine's story that they started off painting or just graffiti, and then learned and took it to another level and just got better and better, and to see the way they design things, and just for kids to see that and go, well, you can actually make if you are passionate about it, and just get them to sit and hear that story. It's amazing. And so another one we've done, so we're just working through like shops in the main street, which some of them, the top facades, I guess they call them, they're a bit old and moldy. So we got funding to clean them up and paint them up, and so we're just working with the local, another one, working with council, businesses. That wasn't even on our scope, but like, man, there's an opportunity here. And because we're starting building relationships with community groups, I just get excited about it. I'm like, man, let's go. If there's funding and there's opportunity and the momentum's there. So and then you engage with local businesses, painters, scaffolders, and builders. I think it's, so that, that's going back into the community as well.
I love that the heart of the whole thing about bringing this beauty to Waitara, when you start to talk about it, it's about far more than just some beautiful images in Waitara. It's actually, you're talking about relationship, you're talking about passing on knowledge, you're talking about giving mana. Some of these kids wouldn't expect to be alongside some of these other people, and yet they get the opportunity to be. And so you're actually enacting in the way that you're doing it, you're actually enacting what it is that you're setting about to do in the first place, which just ties it all together so beautifully.
Yeah, man, and it's just opened my eyes up to a whole, another way, a better way of living as well. Yeah, because I don't know how to go too far into it, but you can come with a whole another agenda, man, and the richness and the levels you connect with would, I just don't think it would be there if you just come in to serve and to connect with people. And and also I just love the thought, like, how else I know it's just painting murals, but how can we support other kaupapa that are going on in Waitara? Just I know it sort of gives you a good focus point. These are some things that we value. If it's going away from that, then it's pointless. Yeah, man. So it's been a cool journey, man. I'm actually loving it. And then you just start dreaming what's next year going to be like, and the team have just got excited about the possibilities of next year.
Still plenty of walls for you?
Yeah, man. Yep. Yeah, there's so another one we're working in with PowerCo. And so we've got lots, and that's just it's done around other places around, and just doing the power boxes, so that working in with them, and it's like, man, why not? Okay, you got some money, we'll spend it. we'll I think, and that's the thing. I think these companies and or the council or different groups are wanting to get in and support and fund community or put the money into the community, but just struggling to find community groups that are wanting to drive these things. Get together, get a collective group together and drive these different so they can invest into the community. So that's another cool one, which hope by the end of the year we'll just finish up the year real nicely. And because a lot of these walls or some of the murals that we've done have got cool stories, which some people, kids growing up from Kohanga, and they know these stories, but a lot of people don't know these stories at all. So we're having we just thought, man, let's do a storytelling night. So we're getting some of the key leaders, Kaumātua, a couple of key leaders, few leaders come in and just pick a different aspect. We may not cover the whole murals, but just this is this part on this mural. Here's the story behind it, and I'm excited about that. I'm like,
that's so cool.
I can't wait for that. So just another way to tell the story, and I'll let them tell their story.
Might end up with a book.
Yeah, man.
Telling all the stories, but that's beautiful, bro. If people want to check out what it is that you guys have been up to, how do they do that?
So we're on, I guess, Beautify Waitara. You can find us Facebook, Instagram as well. And you'll follow our journey there, and see what's going on, and see what's going to happen next year. And
that's cool. Yeah, definitely head along. I'll put those links in the show notes. Head along and look at the walls that these guys have been doing. Just such beautiful work. When I first saw it, I was just like, man, I'd love it if more of our spaces looked like that down in Otutahi. So and we've got a whole bunch of street art around here that had that same kind of feel post earthquake, that came in and made the spaces beautiful, and yet it's good to hear your story that actually yes, it's about that, but it's about far more than that.
Yeah, man.
And thanks, Mike, for joining us today. Really appreciate your time, and thanks for what you're doing to help to bring a bit of heaven down to earth.
Me, man. Cheers.
So when I asked Mike to join me for a kōrero, I was simply taken with the idea of making the town more beautiful through art. And I actually had no idea of the depth of it. Telling the stories of a community, engaging kaumātua for guidance and wisdom, pulling the community together to create the art, bringing young people into connection with professionals and mentors, listening rather than going in with a set agenda, supporting the kaupapa of other groups, and so much more. There's such depth to this beautiful story, such a beautiful heart, and an amazing work of healing and love for a community who has faced so much over the years. So thank you, Mike, for sharing your passion and love for your community with us, for being an inspiration to connect with our own communities, and for what you do to help to bring a bit of heaven down to earth. Thanks again to Ignition Systems for their support. Thanks to you all for listening and engaging with this kaupapa. And I hope these conversations are helping you to think about how you can help to bring a bit of heaven down to earth in the spaces that you occupy. I just have one more episode this year before taking a break over the summer holidays. And next time I'll be doing a bit of a Christmas special, giving a bit of a tweak to the typical nativity story. So, keep your ear out for that. Until then, me inoi tātou.
E tō mātou matua I te rangi, kia tapu tō ingoa, kia tau mai tō rangatiratanga, kia mea te tau e pai ai ki runga ki te whenua, kia rite anō ki tō te rangi. Humai kia mātou ai nei, he taro mā mātou mō tēnei rā. Muro mātou hara, me mātou hoki e muru nei I o te hunga, e hara ana kia mātou. Aua hoki mātou e kawia, kia whakawaia. Engari whakaorangi a mātou I te kino.
Our Father in heaven, hallowed be your name. May your kingdom come. May your will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us today our daily bread. Forgive us our sins as we forgive those who sin against us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For yours is the kingdom, the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen.